In this problem, we are given an integer n whose value is unknown to us. We need to print stars on separate lines, with each line containing one more star than the previous one, up to a maximum of n stars. The picture needs to look like the example we are given here. To begin, let's declare a loop counter and name it stars. Next, we'll need a loop header. Since our first line contains only one star, we can set the initialization to be stars equals 1, and have the update increment the loop counter by 1 per iteration. In the continuing condition, we know that we want to keep looping until we've printed a line with exactly n stars. In other words, as long as stars is less than or equal to n, we want the loop to do something. Now to work on the loop body. We know that we'll want to print stars, so let's stick a placeholder comment here for now. Since we want each iteration to print stars on separate lines, we'll need to print a new line character somewhere in our loop body. As is, our program will print n lines with nothing on them. Let's work on replacing the placeholder comment now. How do we know how many stars to print on the line, and how do we print that many stars? Recall that our loop counter stars addresses this first problem. The value of stars is also the number of stars we'll need to print at each iteration. Similar to how we printed n lines using our current loop, we can print some number of stars using another loop inside of this loop. This is called nested iteration, since we have one iteration nested inside another. Since we know that our loop counter stars is also the number of stars we'll need to print at each iteration, we can add a nested loop. This new inner loop will print exactly one star upon each iteration, and will stop once it's printed exactly the number of stars specified by the stars loop counter. First, we'll need to declare a loop counter for the inner loop, so let's do so and name it count. Next, we need a loop header for our inner loop. In our loop header, we'll want to initialize count as 1, and set the update to increment count by 1 until the value of count is equal to the value of stars. As mentioned earlier, we want this loop to print 1 star per iteration, so we can simply write a print statement which only prints 1 star. We don't want to add a new line character this time because we don't want each star on its own line. So we'll just close up the inner loop, and then the outer loop, and now we have a solution to the problem.